Broadcasting live from the mountains of Montana, get ready for an hour of pure, unapologetic conservative talk radio. Liberals beware, because this is the Wise Conservative Show.
Hello and welcome to episode 120 of the Wise Conservative Show. I'm your host, Connor Wise, and I don't know whether you guys watched the actual Kavanaugh testimony, the Dr. Ford testimony or not. I can tell you every chance I got to watch it, I did, and I believe that was last Thursday. Last Thursday, so 6 days ago now. And, well, the entire political landscape has been revolving around those testimonies, been revolving around the new FBI investigation into the matter. We'll get to all of that coming up. Also, Ocasio-Cortez had another slip-up, so we'll be talking about that. And there's a lot of things really just happening, especially with the midterms coming up. So we're going to be looking at the polls and where everyone actually stands coming up with next month being the election, or in 2 months, pardon me. So we really need to start off with this Kavanaugh hearing. And guys, it was incredible to watch Kavanaugh's testimony, and I'm not saying incredible because he should be there defending himself against this political assassination. I'm saying incredible because I had no doubt after hearing his raw emotional testimony, after watching his family members' faces, after watching his own face, his own emotions during the hearing, that he's innocent. This entire political sham, this political scheme that has been set up by the left, by the Democrats, to take down Brett Kavanaugh. That's all it is. It's just a scam. It's disrespectful. It's uncalled for. And in any other political landscape, this would have never happened. Our political landscape has gotten to such a polarized, such a divided time that people are actually trying to ruin a man's life, a man's career, just so Donald Trump, their opponent, doesn't get a Supreme Court justice. So he doesn't get another pick. That's crazy, folks. It's mind-boggling the extent and the amount the Democrats have gone to keep this man from being on the court. Now, if you didn't listen, or even if you did, a surprise came out of it. A surprise coming from Lindsey Graham, of all people. Now, we all know, and I'm sure if you've been listening to my show for a while, you know that I don't have the best opinion of Lindsey Graham in terms of conservatism, in terms of actually defending what the Republican Party ought to stand for. But Lindsey Graham had a very heated comment, or series of comments, during the actual hearing, and I gained a lot of respect for him. If you haven't heard it, I know it's been everywhere, but this is one of the most amazing things that came out of the hearing, and he really just called out the Democrats for what was really happening. So take a listen to this statement and questions from Lindsey Graham for Kavanaugh and against the Democrats.
Are you aware that at 9:23 on the night of July the 9th, the day you were nominated to the Supreme Court by President Trump, Senator Schumer said, 23 minutes after your nomination, "I will oppose Judge Kavanaugh's nomination with everything I have. I have a bipartisan, and I hope a bipartisan majority will do the same. The stakes are simply too high for anything less." Well, if you weren't aware of it, you are now. Did you meet with Senator Dianne Feinstein on August 20th?
I did meet with Senator Feinstein.
Did you know that her staff had already recommended a lawyer to Dr. Ford?
I did not know that.
Did you know that her and her staff had this allegations for over 20 days?
I did not know that at the time.
If you wanted an FBI investigation, you could have come to us. What you want to do is destroy this guy's life, hold this seat open, and hope you win in 2020. You've said that, not me. You've got nothing to apologize for. When you see Sotomayor and Kagan, tell them that Lindsay said hello, because I voted for them. I would never do to them what you've done to this guy. This is the most unethical sham since I've been in politics. And if you really wanted to know the truth, you sure as hell wouldn't have done what you've done to this guy. Are you a gang rapist?
No.
I cannot imagine what you and your family have gone through. Boy, y'all want power. God, I hope you never get it. I hope the American people can see through this sham, that you knew about it and you held it. You had no intention of protecting Dr. Ford. None. She's as much of a victim as you are. God, I hate to say it, because these have been my friends. But let me tell you, when it comes to this, you're looking for a fair process. You came to the wrong town at the wrong time, my friend. Do you consider this a job interview?
The advice and consent role is like a job
You
interview.
consider that you've been through a job interview.
I've been through a process of advice and consent under the Constitution. Which
Would you say you've been through hell?
I've been through hell and then some.
This is not a job interview.
Yeah.
This is hell.
This
is going to destroy the ability of good people to come forward because of this crap. Your high school yearbook. You have interacted with professional women all your life, not one accusation. You're supposed to be Bill Cosby when you're a junior and senior in high school. And all of a sudden you got over it. It's been my understanding that if you drug women and rape them for 2 years in high school, you probably don't stop. Here's my understanding. If you lived a good life, people would recognize it, like the American Bar Association has the gold standard. His integrity is absolutely unquestioned. He is the very circumspect in his personal conduct, harbors no biases or prejudices. He's entirely ethical, is a really decent person. He is warm, friendly, unassuming. He's the nicest person. The ABA. And one thing I can tell you, you should be proud of. Ashley, you should be proud of this. That you raised a daughter who had the good character to pray for Dr. Ford. To my Republican colleagues, if you vote no, you're legitimizing the most despicable thing I have seen in my time in politics. You want this seat? I hope you never get it. I hope you're on the Supreme Court. That's exactly where you should be. And I hope that the American people will see through this charade. And I wish you well, and I intend to vote for you, and I hope everybody who's fair-minded will.
So that hearing, the testimonies went on, and the Judicial Committee voted on whether this should go to the floor, and it was across party lines exactly, an 11-10 vote. I'm sure you've heard of this. Jeff Flake was the one person that people were concerned about on the Republican side. He's the one person that people didn't know where he was going to go. He ended up voting yes. But he also did, at that moment, and this has changed what has happened in politics up until for this past week. Jeff Flake then said that he does think there should be an additional FBI investigation into the matter. And so here we are now. The FBI investigation has been going on since this weekend, I believe. And now we just wait, basically. There's reports coming out, and I actually just got a notification during that clip talking about how the report is actually going to be available for senators and some congressional aides to view tomorrow morning. The FBI report will be. So they've wrapped up this report very quickly, but that's the thing. It wasn't necessary in the first place. He's been through six background checks from the FBI already. The Judicial Committee itself has collected statements under penalty of felony. So if they lie in it, it's a felony. They've already collected statements from everyone that they believed was pertinent to the investigation and into the allegations. They've already looked into this. All the FBI does in this sort of investigation, all the FBI does is collect statements from the same people that the Senate Judiciary Committee already collected statements from, and then they present it to the Senate. That's it. They collect statements and they give it to the Senate. They don't decide whether someone is guilty or not. They don't recommend whether they believe Kavanaugh should be on the court or not. They don't say whether they believe Dr. Ford or not. That's not how it works, contrary to what every single Democrat on the Judiciary Committee continually said throughout the entire hearing process. They collect information, they collect statements, and they pass it on. And that's it. I don't believe that this FBI investigation was necessary. And I don't believe that it's going to find anything that we don't already know. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, you look at actually confirming Brett Kavanaugh to the High Court. You look at the numbers, and I guarantee this is exactly why they actually went for the FBI investigation. The GOP looked at the numbers and they saw that they might not get it if they didn't have this because of those swing votes. Those moderate Republicans or the Democrats in Republican-led states. They looked at the numbers and they realized that by doing this week-long investigation, this investigation that's going to give the same exact information, that's going to give the same information that already leads to the proof of Kavanaugh being innocent, after this investigation, you're going to have the people like Jeff Flake and Susan Collins, Murkowski. You're going to have all these people. They're leaning more towards voting to confirm Brett Kavanaugh. So I don't agree with the people that are saying that this has ruined the entire process. I don't agree with the investigation. I don't think it was necessary. But at the same time, I don't think it was necessary to prove whether he was innocent. But I do believe it was necessary to get the right amount of votes, the necessary amount of votes, to confirm Brett Kavanaugh. And so I'm not going to start yelling about how this isn't necessary and that it's just a waste of time and money, because this is going to work. Kavanaugh is innocent, so there's nothing we need to be worrying about. And if he isn't innocent, if it does somehow uncover that, which I very highly doubt, then he shouldn't be on the High Court anyway. But I have no doubt that Kavanaugh is innocent. I have no doubt that Democrats have been using this as a political sham, as character assassination, as trying to get rid of one of the most qualified nominees for the Supreme Court that this nation has ever seen in all of its history. Trying to get rid of him because Donald Trump nominated him. Because Donald Trump put him up. It's crazy that they fall into these levels. And we've had so many people calling out the Democrats on this, and I've seen a lot of people, a lot of the more moderate Democrats, saying that they don't agree with Democrats on this, that they think that they've gone too far, that they withheld information just so that they could politically time its release, that the majority of these allegations are false, and anytime Avenatti is involved, we already know that it's false. I've seen moderate Democrats siding with Republicans on this. And I saw this poll. It had a sample size about 80 or 90,000. So it was a very big poll. It was put on by MSN. And it was online. And it was asking whether you believe Judge Kavanaugh or Dr. Ford. and about 68%, if I'm remembering correctly, it was in the 60% of people said that they believed Kavanaugh. And that's very telling. With a sample size that large, you have to actually look at the results of it. And you have to actually look and see that, yeah, people do agree with Kavanaugh. People think that this is another political sham. And I'm not saying that Dr. Ford didn't necessarily have something happen against her. There's been people who have come out saying that it was actually them. I don't know whether it was or if that's another political move from some people really wanting Kavanaugh confirmed. But she might have had something happen to her, but I know that it wasn't Kavanaugh. And Kavanaugh has proved that it wasn't him from his extremely detailed calendar from the summer of 1982 to Dr. Ford's own best friend from high school saying that she didn't remember Kavanaugh, that she had no recollection of the party, and saying that she didn't think it happened. To Mark Judge saying that this never happened, to a long list. Over 60 people, women who went to high school with Kavanaugh, or at the same time as Kavanaugh in the same sister schools, saying that he didn't do it, saying that he couldn't have done it, and that it doesn't fit his character. There's overwhelming evidence to support his innocence, which is ironic considering the fact that the burden is on the side of proving that he's guilty. That's where the burden of evidence falls. You have to prove that someone is guilty, but I have seen countless numbers of people in this issue say that that's not a good tactic, that you shouldn't have to prove that someone's guilty in these cases, that Kavanaugh is guilty before proven innocent. I talked about that a lot last week. And I've talked about it in the past because this is something that Democrats have done in the past. They've tried to prove people guilty before innocent. That's not how our nation works. That's not how our judicial system works. That's how tyranny works. That's not how freedom, that's not how republic works. More than just Lindsey Graham have gone off on tirades against the Democrats on this issue. McConnell has, I believe, 2 times now given scathing speeches on the Senate floor over the past 2 weeks, calling out Democrats, saying that this is a political scam, that they're just doing this to try to delay the vote, that they're doing this to try to get rid of a very good nominee. And, of course, I agree with him on this. Even Cory Booker has been very involved. I don't know why I said even Cory Booker. Of course Cory Booker is very involved. He's trying to set up a presidential run. Cory Booker is now saying to ditch Kavanaugh whether he is, quote, innocent or guilty. Now, this is pretty recently. I believe it was in the past few days that this has happened. So Booker, of course, backed the FBI's reopening of the supplemental investigation into Kavanaugh. He just indicated, and yes, this was yesterday, that it's too late for Kavanaugh. He says that Kavanaugh's credibility has already been challenged, and his temperament revealed at the heated hearing last week with him and Dr. Ford. He said, quote, ultimately not whether he's innocent or guilty. This is not a trial, but ultimately have enough questions been raised that we should not move on to another candidate. Yeah, that's Cory Booker trying to set up a presidential run right there. Saying that it doesn't matter whether he's guilty, whether he's innocent, whether this was political assassination, character assassination or not. He shouldn't be confirmed. And he brought up Kavanaugh's temperament. And I've seen a lot of Democrats do this. They've brought up Kavanaugh's temperament, saying, oh, he was angry. He was angry, and that proves that he can't be a justice because he doesn't keep his cool in tense situations. But he was just alleged by multiple people falsely of some very severe crimes, some very severe actions. There's been death threats. There's been threats against his family members. His own home has been graffitied upon, has been vandalized because of these protesters, because of Democrats, because of this political sham. If anyone was in the same position as Kavanaugh, they would have the same response. His response was justified, and it just proves his innocence even more. It just proves that he knows that he's innocent, and it's so frustrating that Democrats continually bring up these false allegations, continually try to destroy his career, destroy his livelihood, destroy a very good chance at the Supreme Court, all because they don't agree with Donald Trump politically. I would be angry too, and I guarantee anyone in his position would be just as angry. I'm going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, a little bit of election news. This is the Wise Conservative Show. Hey everybody, Connor Wise here with an exclusive clip from the Wise Conservative Show. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. And we have to continually remember that if we let the wrong people get in power, those liberties can be taken away. We have to remember that government is just a burden on the people, that it's not our savior, that it's not who gives us our rights. People all across America are waking up and realizing that fake news isn't helping our nation. People are realizing that they don't deliver the facts, nor do they deliver the truth. The fake news era is coming to an end, and that's exactly why Patriot News Radio was created. On Patriot News Radio, you have a wide selection of conservative talk hosts, including myself with the Wise Conservative Show. Patriot News Radio streams 24/7 on TuneIn Radio, so you can just go to the app or to the website and stream it. Also, if you have a Google Home device, all you have to do is say, "Hey Google, play Patriot News Radio," and there you have it, Patriot News Radio right in your own home. Patriot News Radio delivers you the facts and the truth 24/7. Patriot News Radio, where America comes to talk.
Ever wanted to learn the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in less than 10 minutes? Are you looking for the truth about the so-called gender wage gap? Well, my friends, I'll let you in on a little secret. Prager University is a source that I use all the time when preparing for my show, the Jason Veely Program. Dennis Prager and his team have put together a remarkable organization that seeks to explain and spread Americanism through the power of the internet. Their short yet extremely informative videos reach more than 100 million people per year, and they want to reach you as well. Go on YouTube and type in Prager University, or go to prageru.com for all of their latest content. That's Prager, the letter U.com. prageru.com.
Are you having trouble getting a merchant account? Maybe you need an international payment gateway, or you just got rejected by another merchant account provider. No problem. iPayTotal wants your business. Our high-risk merchant accounts allow you to accept all major credit and debit cards. Our Moto payment gateway allows accepting transactions on the phone. iPayTotal delivers payment solutions and products to help grow your business. Contact us now for your payment processing at iPayTotal.com. iPayTotal, your online payments partner.
Calling all young conservatives. Have you ever wanted to write for an online publication? What about host your own conservative radio program? Now you can, thanks to youthrevolt.org. Youth Revolt is a conservative media network for young people, the goal of which is to educate our fellow Americans and also to expose the left-wing indoctrination that goes on in classrooms across the country. Become part of a team that is dedicated to taking the country back, one radio program or opinion column at a time. If you're interested, go to youthrevolt.org and click on Join Us on the top of the page. Fill out our brief questionnaire, and one of our representatives will be in touch with you in no time at all. The time to reclaim our future is now. Be a part of something that's bigger than yourself, and join the movement today. Youth Revolt. Speak without fear.
A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There are people in this nation that would have you give up your rights, that would have you turn in your guns. We have these people who are in office, we have these people who are marching in our streets, that are walking out of their schools. People who think that your right is not important. On the Wise Conservative Show, we know that your rights matter, and we will tell you the truth about your liberties. We will tell you the truth about all the issues happening and the facts around all of these debates. For your daily dose of conservatism, for your daily dose of the facts and the truth. Tune into the Wise Conservative Show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on Youth Revolt. We are fully in election season. I believe earlier I said it's 2 months until the election, but it's October, so next month, it's a month and 2 days, I believe, until the election. Midterms are very close, and boy, are they heating up. Polls have been showing a general trend of Republicans actually gaining ground in a lot of key states. There's a lot of key states, so I'm not going to go over all of the numbers for you guys. But basically what's happening is it's being found that Republicans are becoming more interested in the fight for the U.S. Senate at the same time as the Kavanaugh issues are coming up. And there's a lot of people who are believe that Kavanaugh's confirmation to the Supreme Court is explaining the increased interest in the election among Republicans. I know here in Montana how the current senator, the incumbent that's running, Jon Tester, is voting on the Supreme Court pick is, of course, a big issue. And he released a statement right after the testimony saying that he believes Ford, and that he believes that Kavanaugh is not fit for the highest court, and that he will vote no. Before even the democratically called FBI investigation. Most of them have already said no, even without the investigation. So I don't know why Democrats were so keen on it. But basically, what's happening are Republicans are getting fired up. They're seeing this political sham that's going on from the left, from a lot of the leadership within the Democratic Party, and they're realizing we need to vote these people out, because if we don't, there's going to be more and more of this political and character assassination from these Democrats, these people who apparently have no shame when it comes to what they're doing in politics and to other people. In Arizona, Republicans are up. Indiana, Republicans are gaining ground. Missouri, it's now tied as compared to a 3-point deficit just last month about this time. North Dakota, which is another very vulnerable state, we see that Republicans are actually closing in on that, and so, we're getting a lot of ground. Basically, what's happening is the president, the vice president, they're doing a lot of rallies. Even Donald Trump Jr., he's doing some rallies. He was just here last week, last week, Donald Trump Jr. was here. This week, just yesterday, Mike Pence was here. And a month or so ago, a little bit less than a month ago, Donald Trump was here. So they're really campaigning very hard for Republicans, and we see that where they go, wherever Donald Trump goes, where Vice President Mike Pence goes, where Donald Trump Jr. goes, wherever they go, where they give speeches, where they hold these rallies, the numbers for the Republican candidate that they're supporting dramatically increases. And it's crazy. They're still encompassing the motivation and the urge to vote that they had in the 2016 election, which is great for Republicans. I'm still predicting a Republican victory in both the Senate and the House because I believe that we have the momentum. I believe that we have the correct campaigning strategies and that, we have the people in office already that are doing a lot better for our liberties, for our freedoms, for the Constitution than I see from the left. And people notice that. Actually, this past week, on Saturday, I believe, Saturday, I was doing phone calls. I was calling all these different voters and talking to them about the local Senate race between Jon Tester and Matt Rosendale. And I noticed something when I was calling, and of course most of the calls just go straight to voicemail. But the ones that did answer, a lot of them were in support of the Republican Matt Rosendale, and the ones who weren't, the people who were in support of Jon Tester, a lot of them just wouldn't even listen to the facts that we would be presenting because we were calling to urge people to vote against Jon Tester. The first round of things that we did was because of his history on healthcare and how it was detrimented Montana and our country. And then we also talked about his history with veterans issues and how even though he's on the Veterans Affairs Committee, he has not done anything to help the system, even though he said that he will. So we were giving calls about these different things, and the majority of people who were in support of Jon Tester wouldn't even listen to the facts that I was giving them about the history of voting or the plans that Jon Tester has said that he supports, like socialized healthcare, which we all know will cost our nation quite a bit. So I noticed this trend where, and it kind of does have a reflection in, like, the media, too. The people who are in support of the Democratic candidates, and this, of course, isn't a true, study, so don't hold this word down for everything. But the people in support of Democrats seem to not care about the facts as much, and they mostly just cared about having someone against Donald Trump. And then the people who are voting for the Republican candidate, Matt Rosendale here, they had already heard of the information. They had already looked it up themselves, or they had saw it on some article or something. They had already read into it. They had already looked into these issues, become educated on it, and actually done research for themselves. And there is a correlation that I've noticed between people who actually do research on issues and the amount of liberty that they support, and the amount of constitutional liberties that they want to defend. Because the more you look into these issues, the less you think that we should be funding these very bloated government programs, and the more you think we should be giving rights back to the states, back to the people. where we should be giving people more choices, where we should fix our Veterans Affairs, the entire system, from the corruption to the ill-used funds to the scandals that have been happening from waitlists. The more research you do on these issues, the less likely you are to vote for these candidates, of course, that have supported not fixing these issues or have supported democratic socialist policies. There's socialist policies, whether it's healthcare, college, universal basic income, which is the newest one. So I find that interesting. Now, of course, as I've said before, don't take this as if it's a real study. It's just been my personal observation. But it does make sense, in my opinion. It makes sense that when you actually look up the economic factors, when you look up the cost, the debt that our nation is in, when you look up how these policies actually get put into place instead of just blindly trusting the government, blindly trusting the media, then of course you're going to want the path that has less government intrusion, that gives you more freedoms, that allows you to have more choice and more money in your pocket. It just makes sense. It's common sense. The more you look into this, the more you're educated on it, the less likely you are to vote for these liberal policies, for these ultra-government policies. And I believe that's another reason why Republicans are taking an edge in polls, where Republicans are either catching up or gaining ground, taking the lead in all of these different polls, all at the same time. Because people have been fired up about the election, so they're doing their research, they're looking into all these policies that people support, they're looking at all of these different things that the candidates have said, and they're realizing that liberty is the option. Liberty is always the option, guys. When you can, you shouldn't go for the big government approach, which we see so many Democrats campaigning on. And after this break, I'm going to be talking about one of our most favorite new Democratic socialists, Ocasio-Cortez, and her view on some big government things and her view on Congress in general. So don't go anywhere. I'm taking one last quick commercial break. This is the Wise Conservative Show. Hey everybody, Connor Wise here with an exclusive clip from the Wise Conservative Show. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. And that's how a government should be run, folks. You can't legislate based on emotion, based on morality. You have to legislate based on the truth and the facts. It's something that Democrats seem to have struggled with, and something that they continue to struggle with when it comes to the immigration debate.
Ever wanted to learn the history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in less than 10 minutes? Are you looking for the truth about the so-called gender wage gap? Well, my friends, I'll let you in on a little secret. Prager University is a source that I use all the time when preparing for my show, the Jason Veely Program. Dennis Prager and his team have put together a remarkable organization that seeks to explain and spread Americanism through the power of the internet. Their short yet extremely informative videos reach more than 100 million people per year, and they want to reach you as well. Go on YouTube and type in Prager University, or go to prageru.com for all of their latest content. That's Prager, the letter U.com. prageru.com.
People all across America are waking up and realizing that fake news isn't helping our nation. People are realizing that they don't deliver the facts, nor do they deliver the truth. The fake news era is coming to an end, and that's exactly why Patriot News Radio was created. On Patriot News Radio, you have a wide selection of conservative talk hosts, including myself, with the Wise Conservative Show. Patriot News Radio streams 24/7 on TuneIn Radio, so you can just go to the app or to the website and stream it. Also, if you have a Google Home device, all you have to do is say, "Hey Google, play Patriot News Radio," and there you have it, Patriot News Radio, right in your own home. Patriot News Radio delivers you the facts and the truth 24/7. Patriot News Radio, where America comes to talk.
And that, class, is why America is the worst country in the history of the world.
Are you sick of your professors telling you lies?
Now remember, children, if you're white, it means you're privileged. Don't ever forget that.
Do you sit through class convinced that your head is going to explode at any given moment? Sounds like you could use some backup. Visit youthrevolt.org for exclusive content produced by young conservatives for young conservatives. Youth Revolt features a dedicated team of radio hosts, political columnists, and video bloggers, all of whom are 100% committed to taking back the future of this country. So what are you waiting for? Tune out your Marxist professor and visit youthrevolt.org now.
A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. There are people in this nation that would have you give up your rights, that would have you turn in your guns. We have these people who are in office, we have these people who are marching in our streets, that are walking out of their schools. People who think that your right is not important. On the Wise Conservative Show, we know that your rights matter, and we will tell you the truth about your liberties. We will tell you the truth about all the issues happening and the facts around all of these debates. For your daily dose of conservatism, for your daily dose of the facts and the truth. Tune into the Wise Conservative Show every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, only on Youth Revolt. Ocasio-Cortez is back at it. She's had so many mess-ups during this campaign season, and well, it's kind of hard to watch her campaign and to see it be in the spotlight so much, just because of all the mistakes she's made. Well, apparently she doesn't know how Congress works at all, according to one of her recent speeches. So I got that audio for you guys. It's a quick little clip. Take a listen.
I would love to get inaugurated January 3rd, January 4th. We're signing health care, we're signing this, we're decarcerating our society. But really, it is that we have a duty to always fight and maintain the strength of our values.
So if you didn't hear it there, I know it's kind of hard to hear. She said that, and this is the quote that I really wanted you guys to listen to. Quote, "It doesn't mean you get everything tomorrow, as much as I would love that. I would love to get inaugurated January 3rd and January 4th. We're signing healthcare. We're signing this." Now, if you don't know what's wrong with that, first off, congressmen and women don't get inaugurated. That's only what happens for the president. Everyone else gets sworn in. And furthermore, congressmen and women don't sign the bills. They're not the ones signing it into law, as Cortez would love to do. She really is confusing the position of president and congresswoman, and I really feel like she should educate herself on the issues before talking more, because of course this isn't her first mess up. She's gotten her political colors messed up, calling the Democrats red before. She's been criticized for flubbing an interview question where she criticized Israel's occupation of the Palestinian territories. And, well, she really doesn't know what's happening at all. She's like Gary Johnson's mess-ups in the 2016 presidential election to a whole new level. Gary Johnson's mess-ups in interviews were nothing compared to Ocasio-Cortez. And yet she still got Obama's nomination, or endorsement, pardon me, in the first round of endorsements that Obama, or in the second round, I believe, of Obama's endorsements. So why exactly did she get it? Well, she's a young Democratic socialist who the head of the DNC has said is the future of the Democratic Party. Someone who doesn't know what the government is, but wants it to take control of everything, from free healthcare to free college tuition. She's even talked about universal basic income. See, Ocasio-Cortez doesn't know what the government does, doesn't know what each position does, doesn't even know what her own duties will be if she's elected. And yet she wants that government that she knows nothing about to take control of every nook and cranny of people's lives. She wants to expand the government that she doesn't know one bit about. I mean, it's kind of crazy. I mean, all of her speeches are based upon false narratives. She's kind of falling into the same, and I guess it makes sense since I do believe she's young enough to be a millennial, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to look that up, and I'll tell you guys next week what I find out. But, yeah, she's falling into the same mindset as the majority of millennials, where they automatically just go for the socialist viewpoint on everything. They automatically say that anything that a Republican, a conservative, or Donald Trump does is completely bad, and that we should change everything, that we should completely expand the government, which they believe is the most efficient thing in the world. That's where she falls in. She falls into that group of people. Into the brainwashed millennials. One of the extreme leftists in our nation. And I mean, I don't want to say that the majority of the left has been extremized, if that's even a word, has been polarized so far to the left that they're so extreme as they are, as Ocasio-Cortez and Maxine Waters and all of these different very extreme people. I don't want to say that the majority of them are, because I know there's a lot of moderate Democrats still, Reagan Democrats, people who voted for Trump that are Democrats. There's a whole group of people that are Democrats for Trump. There's a whole group of Democrats that have been looking at the recent party and are realizing, I don't belong here anymore. They're looking all of this vocal extremist portion, and they're thinking, I have to leave. And that's why the walkaway campaign has been started, why it's been thriving. So I don't want to say that the majority of Democrats are these extremists, but it's hard to not say that when the head of the DNC, when the media, when Obama, when all of these higher-ups within the Democratic Party and within the liberal environment, the media, when all these higher-ups put so much attention on her and claim that people like her, these extremists, are the future of the party, are the future of America, it's hard to not say that the Democratic Party has become extreme in all ways, that the majority of the people have. But I know there's moderate Democrats still. I know that there's a lot of people who are leaving the Democratic Party because of people like Ocasio-Cortez. And I have taken that into account when I'm looking at the upcoming midterms. I know that a lot of these people are more moderate. That in the very politically divided, the very polarized nation that we live in nowadays, most of the people who are moderate at this point, looking at recent trends, looking at recent events, the people who are more moderate, who are looking into the details, into the facts, whether they're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or, insert third party here, these people are more likely, in my belief, to be voting Republican in a month. Because Republicans haven't gone to the extreme on a lot of issues. we still have moderates in office, and we have people who are actually willing to listen to the other side, who are willing to actually debate on issues, willing to look into the facts of issues. So it's just one of many reasons as to why I believe Democrats are not going to have that blue wave. One of many reasons as to why I believe Republicans are going to win this upcoming election. We're going to keep the Senate, keep the House, and maybe even gain seats in both. I believe that we're going to do way better than any poll is already saying because, let's be honest, we don't trust polls. Polls said that Donald Trump had a 2% chance of winning the election. Well, he won. A lot of these polls are rigged. We know that. They're worded in ways that helps out the liberal people on it, helps out the Democratic candidates. They're given in ways that only Democrats can vote on them. You know, all of these different issues, all of these different factors come into it. So I'm not going to base everything solely on polls, but what I am going to base this on is the facts, is noticing trends within moderate people, how the Democratic Party, the leadership within it, has become very radical, and people don't agree with that. All right, that's all for today's episode of The Wise Conservative Show. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in. I've been your host, Connor Wise. You can find The Wise Conservative Show on a multitude of platforms from Spreaker.com, iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, and many more. You can go ahead and like The Wise Conservative Show on Facebook and tune in next week. And as always, God bless.